All right, so let's start with our first question for this evening. This person says, in an environment where people do the bare minimum and most are unwilling to go the extra mile, how would you encourage and empower team members to take on leadership roles or initiatives? In an environment where the culture is people do the barest minimum, people don't go the extra mile, I need you to understand that in most cultures, only just about 20% of the people are responsible for the prevalent culture. Okay, in most environments. And what that tells you is there is at least another about 30 to 40% of people who currently may be average performers, but who can be converted. Okay, so first you need to have hope. You need to believe that things can change for the better, and you don't even have to have positional authority for you to influence change or to inspire change in such an environment. The first thing you want to do is you want to model selflessness. You want to model self-sacrifice. And the moment you start doing it, you will catch the attention of these average people I've talked about. People who are in the environment who perhaps share your opinion, share your feeling, but they've not had the opportunity to express themselves, or they are waiting for somebody to take the lead. Now, the moment you take the lead and you begin to lead by example, these people will be attracted to you. And all you need to do is recognize them, draw them close. Then you want to make sure that you share the burden with them. And what I'm saying to you is all you need is just about 20% of the people in that environment to join your value system, and you guys can bring about change in your workplace or wherever that environment is. Now, the moment you identify those people who share your values, you want to make sure that you share the burden with them. Okay, show them how to do what you're doing. Delegate to them. Of course, they may make mistakes in the beginning. Allow them. Okay, allow them. Delegating to people, turning your back and trusting them to do the task is one of the ways you build the confidence of other people. Now, the moment a collection of you begin to, demonstrate selflessness, you would notice that the rest of the people in the organization will begin to catch it. In no time, you will be able to turn that organization around. Now, Joe Aduku says, you may want to begin by publicly rewarding the few that show some effort to go the extra mile. Set targets and obvious incentives for individuals who put in effort to hit those targets. Okay, it may help to start with small, that is easily achievable targets. You can increase them over time. All right, thank you very, very much for that response, Joseph. So let's move to the second question for today. And this person says, we've been dating for only about 6 months, but this lady is already behaving like my wife. How can I set healthy boundaries in the relationship without hurting her feelings? It is good to set boundaries, but this is the first thing I think you should do. First, you need to define the relationship. First for yourself, and then once you have clarity, then you can sit this person down and also let the person understand what your definition of the relationship is. Now, this lady you say is behaving like a wife already. It may be because of the vibes that she's getting from you, or maybe you have led her on. Okay, or maybe a value system is as such that she believes the only reason why anybody will be close to her is because the person wants to get married. Okay, you may be dealing with difference in values, okay, right here. So what you need to do is first you define, what do you want out of this relationship? How far do you want this relationship to go? What is the nature of this relationship? The moment you have clarity, then you want to sit this lady down and say, you know what? I want us to define our relationship. This is what I believe this relationship is all about. Now, based on your definition of the relationship, you will now set boundaries. Now, one of the ways you set boundaries without hurting the feelings of the other person is to let the person know, I am doing this for you. Okay? I am doing this for you. So for example, you say, you know what? I don't want my friends and my family members to disrespect you. Okay. If you start playing the role of a wife before we get married, they will not respect you. They will take you for granted. And I don't want that to happen for you. To happen to you. So the moment the person knows he or she, this guy is doing this for me, or this lady is doing this for me, they will handle the conversation better. And so you want to now at that point say, okay, you know what? This is what I want us to do. This is what I want us to do. You also let the person speak her mind. She would also say, this is how I want us to go about it. This is how I want us to go about it. And then the both of you can proceed based on what you have agreed to be the boundaries in your relationship. Now, this is what is likely to happen. It's likely if this person shares your values that the person will agree with you, and from then on you guys will have peace and perhaps continue to deal with some other challenges in the relationship, because that's what relationships about. All about adjusting one to another till we get to that place where we are in sync. Or this person continues to violate boundaries even after you have had this discussion. That is when you know we don't share the same values. Perhaps we may not be compatible for a long-term relationship. So at the end of the day, whatever she does after you have the conversation for you is feedback. This is how you know whether you can go the long haul with this person, or this relationship is not going very far. I have a strong personality, and some people find me intimidating and difficult to work with. How can I offer constructive feedback to my subordinates without discouraging them? How can I offer constructive feedback to my subordinates without discouraging them? Okay, that used to be my reputation. Okay, people used to say that I was, tough, demanding and all of that. And over the years, I've learned a few things, and maybe I can share some of them with you tonight. Now, first, you don't need to change. Okay, you don't need to change. One of the keys to effective teams is diversity. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. But you need to understand that you can't afford to treat everybody the way you treat yourself. You may be tough on yourself, you may be hard on yourself, and that's how you produce results, but you can't afford to treat everybody the same way. So the first thing is you need to understand the personality of the persons you are dealing with, and then you want to tailor your feedback to the personality that you are dealing with. By the way, if it is unsolicited and you are not responsible for the person's productivity, first, you have no business offering them feedback. Okay? That's the first thing I'm going to say. If you are not responsible for the person's productivity and the person has not asked for your opinion, you don't have to give it. Right? The next thing is, when you are offering feedback, make sure you separate people from issues. You want to focus on what the person has done or what the person has not done, not the person. Okay? You are criticizing activity, not personality. And then so many years ago, reading the book, The 1 Minute Manager, I learned this sandwich principle of, starting with something positive, giving the constructive criticism, and then ending with something positive. So you want to give the person feedback. Start by acknowledging something the person has done right. Okay. Then discuss the thing you want to discuss, the activity, the performance issue that you want to discuss, and then you sandwich it with acknowledgement of something good that the person has done. So for those of us who are tough, strong personalities, you want to make sure that most of the time you catch people doing the right thing, not the wrong thing. And what does that mean? Let people hear more commendation from you than criticism. The reason why sometimes people take our criticisms negatively is because they have not received enough commendation from us. All right. So as a tough person too, another principle I have practiced for years is I don't criticize people that I have not contributed to. Okay. I don't call you out if I have never commended you, if I've never thrown the spotlight on you, if I've not, invested in you. I don't think I have the right to correct you. In my own little way, those are the things that I've done, and they have been helpful to a large extent. Joe says, just as Pishex has mentioned before, how a thing is said is as important as what is being said. You can give feedback without the intensity of negative emotions like anger or disappointment. Okay. He says, you mentioned the term strong personality. I like to imagine that you communicate your thoughts vehemently in your feedback to your subordinates. Separating the emotions from the message helps. Okay. Separating the emotion from the message helps. This person says, the fear of uncertainty has kept me from a serious relationship for a long time. People think I am picky, but I have just been scared. Please tell me, what are some red flags to watch out for in a new relationship? Can you notice how that fear you have talked about, that fear of uncertainty, okay, is actually what is still driving this question? So, I'm not going to satisfy that fear. I'm going to turn this in another direction. If the fear of uncertainty has kept you from relationships, if you have been scared, even though everybody thought you've just been picky, extra selective, now you are asking, what are red flags to look out for? I think that is still the fear speaking. So this is what I'm going to say. Instead of looking for red flags, why don't you look for white flags? Instead of focusing on what will not make a relationship work, why not focus on what will make the relationship work? Okay, a powerful principle I've known and I've believed and I've practiced for years is that whatever you focus on amplifies. And focus also determines, all right, expectation. So if you're looking for red flags, what you're going to be seeing are red flags. So instead of red flags, like I said, why don't you look out for white flags? Why don't you look out for qualities to look out for in a relationship? Signs that would tell you that this relationship will work. Good. So the first thing I'm going to ask you to look out for is mutual interest. Mutual interest. Okay. You see, at the end of the day, be friendly, make a lot of friends, and when it is time to get married, marry your best friend. Let me say that again. Be friendly, make a lot of friends, and when it's time to get married to your best friend. So you want to look for things that you have in common with people, common interest, okay, shared values and shared interests. This is what I used to say to people so many years ago. Anybody that you can sit down with, in those days I would say under a mango tree. Now it doesn't have to be a mango tree. Anybody you can sit with without the distractions of phones, of a movie, of any entertainment, and the two of you can hold, a conversation for hours without getting bored. That is a sign that you as such a person have a lot in common. Okay, so you're looking for a friend. You're looking for a friend. All right, forget about every other thing first and look for that person who is interested in you as much as you are interested in the person. The person does not get tired talking to you. The person does not get tired of asking you questions. The person does not get tired of listening to you. That's a sign that you have a lot in common with such a person. All right, that's what I'm going to say to you today. Today is not for red flags. Today is for white flags. Stop looking for what will not make a relationship work and look for what will make the relationship work, because you want to make the relationship work. Now, I'm not saying there are no red flags, but what I'm saying is whatever you are looking for is what you will see, what you will find. And sometimes what comes across as a red flag may just be a misunderstanding. If the person is your friend, there is no issue that you cannot resolve. All right. Sometimes people are doing things that they don't know. You see it as a red flag. But if the person is your friend and you hold a discussion about it, you would resolve it and then you can move on. All right. Good. Nulls 4 says, take some time to reflect on the specific sources of your uncertainty. Is it a fear of being hurt or abandoned? A lack of trust? Concerns about compatibility or commitment? Understanding the underlying reason can help you address them more effectively. Thank you very, very much for your contribution. Thank you very much for your contribution. And I like the fact that you are dealing with the uncertainty, even though I've gone ahead, all right, to turn the question or my response in another direction. But thank you very much for helping to revisit this issue of uncertainty. I think it's so important. I love this response. Let me read again. Take some time to reflect on the specific sources of your uncertainty. Okay, is it a fear of being hurt or abandoned, a lack of trust, concerns about compatibility or commitment? Understanding the underlying reasons can help you address them more effectively. It's amazing how that sometimes we just think we are like this. Okay, I'm like this. No, there's a reason why you think the way you think, why you feel the way you feel, and it is always very good for you to investigate the reason, all right, behind your position, behind your perspective, behind your paradigm, so that you can make the necessary adjustments. Thank you very much for that contribution. And I'm going to move to, I believe, question number 5 for today. Very simple and straightforward. This person wants to know, what are some common pitfalls aspiring leaders should avoid on their leadership journey? The first one is lack of personal development. Lack of personal development. For so many people, they treat a leadership position as a destination, not an opportunity. So the moment they get into position of leadership, they stop investing in themselves. But I like to say to people this way, that effective leadership requires 80% personal development. Okay, 80% personal development. You've got to continue to invest in yourself. One of my functional definitions of leadership is developing yourself for the benefit of others. Okay, developing yourself for the benefit of others. So one major mistake you don't want to make as an aspiring leader is to stop investing in yourself, to stop developing yourself. The second pitfall is poor communication skills. Okay, we've talked about that severally. I'm going to encourage you to go to my YouTube channel. I have over 40 minutes of a presentation on effective communication on my YouTube channel. All right, for you to cover. A lot of leaders just, assumed I've said it means I've communicated. No. That you have said it, that you have written a document does not mean you have communicated. It has to be that the people you are communicating to understand what you are saying. Okay. The third one is micromanaging. So many people are promoted into leadership responsibilities because of their competence. Now that they have become leaders and they have responsibility for other people, if care is not taken, the fear is nobody can do it the way I can do it. And even though you have people to delegate to, you are still doing a lot by yourself. Another functional definition of leadership is getting things done through other people. Your effectiveness in leadership is not measured by how much you are doing, but by how much and how well others are doing because of what you have done. So you don't want to be a micromanager. You want to make sure that you continue to think in the context of a team and you get things done through other people. The fourth is the fear of failure. The fear of failure. There is nobody who does not make mistakes. And as an aspiring leader or a leader who has just started, the tendency is that in the beginning, you will make a lot of mistakes. Okay. Remember the words of John Maxwell. It's a title of a book, one of his books. Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Okay. So what do you want to do? If you win, yes, celebrate your victories. If you should fail, learn as much as possible from your failures and then move on. But don't let the fear of failure hold you back. It's a major pitfall that aspiring leaders fall into. And then the fifth one for me is very, very important. There is a major mistake I see young leaders make, and it is prioritizing results over people. Okay? Prioritizing results over people. Never forget, people are more important than results. People are more important than projects. In the words of John Maxwell, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And until people buy into you, they will not buy into your leadership. So you don't want to make that mistake of prioritizing the results that you want to achieve over the people that you have the responsibility to lead. In the beginning, it will look like they are slowing you down, they are holding you back. Pause for them. Okay, pause for them. And then the moment they know you are in this for us, you are not in this for yourself, they will turn around and they will help you achieve success. All right. I want to believe those suggestions will help you. Now, Joseph says, when leaders start out, they need some level of bullishness to get things done. This is great at first, but later on, this easily becomes a cap or an upper limit of how far their teams can operate. Leaders need to learn to adjust when necessary between trusting their own abilities and leaning on the strengths of their teams from time to time. This is something I've seen happen among leaders quite often. Okay. Nos 4 says effective leaders must be emotionally intelligent. The ability to recognize, understand, and manage their own emotions and those of others. With low emotional intelligence, or rather leaders with low emotional intelligence will struggle with building strong relationships, managing conflicts, and inspiring their team. All right. Thank you very, very much for your contributions. I'm going to wait 1 or 2 minutes so that we can get other people's contributions also before we round up the session for this evening. Like I said, I always like to keep it concise so that others who are not part of the live broadcast can come back later and, go over the whole material without missing out on anything. Thank you very much for your contributions this evening. And while I wait for the responses, let me use this opportunity to invite everybody who is single. If you're single, you can join me this Saturday, all right, at Hill City Ikeja for singles timeout. All right. And I'm going to ask you immediately after this broadcast, just go to Hill City NG at Hill City NG here on Instagram and check out, all right, information about singles timeout coming up this Saturday, 4:30 p.m. All right. There's a video advert there. The theme for this edition is my spec. What I want versus what I need. Listen, singles timeout is always a lot of fun and a lot of learning. Okay, you will make friends. All right, there will be refreshments, there will be music, there will be games, and we will learn a lot. All right, from one another. So if you're single, it's an opportunity to mingle. It's an opportunity to meet new people and make new friends. This Saturday, 4:30 p.m. at Hill City Ikeja. Don't miss it for anything. Just go to at Hill City NG at the end of this broadcast and check details for that program coming up this Saturday at 4:30 p.m. And it's on that note that we have come to the end of tonight's broadcast. Okay, I think some other comments are still coming in. Okay, Nos 4 says effective leaders must be conscious of their own strengths, weaknesses, and biases. All right, that's a powerful one. That's a powerful one. Okay, self-awareness is very, very key when it comes to effective leadership. You've got to know your strengths, you've got to know your weaknesses, you've got to know your biases. Now, this is the way I like to describe it to people. Your strengths is what makes you relevant and is the reason why people need you. Your weaknesses will keep you humble and will help you understand your need for other people in your life. So the moment you are conscious of your weaknesses, you will be gracious to other people because you know none of us is perfect. Okay, nobody is perfect. You may be competent, but you are not perfect. You also make mistakes. So when other people make mistakes, you want to be sensitive and gracious to them. You want to be considerate, knowing fully well that they are stronger in an area where you are not as strong. All right, Nosfall, thank you very much for that contribution. Joseph, thank you very much for your contribution this evening. Everybody who's been a part of this broadcast, thank you very, very, very much for being a part of this broadcast tonight. Please join me next week, Wednesday at exactly 7 p.m. If you know me, you know I don't waste time. We start on time, we finish on time. 7 p.m. next week, Wednesday, for another broadcast of Let's Talk About It. And like I said, send me your questions ahead of time so that we can handle those questions. What I do is the moment the questions come in, they are the first questions I consider for the next edition. So please send in your questions. All right. Right now you can just put the word link or the word access in the comments and the link will be sent directly to you. And if it's after the broadcast that you are seeing this, then you can go to my bio, on Instagram. The link for you to send in your question will also be made available to you, and it's anonymous. Nobody knows it's you asking the question, so you can get the help you need, or you can get the help for a friend or a loved one that he or she needs. All right, thank you very much. I'll see you next week, Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your week. God bless you. Bye-bye.